review this then, the Beko WTL104121W. I believe this was actually released in 2020 according to the instruction manual, but this was personally, if I think I know who it is, they would have bought it 2.5 years ago in 2022, 2023, something like that. So this is only around 3 years, 2 to 3 years old. But yeah, the actual model's been out for about nearly 5 years. Right, so we've got a 10 kilogram drum, pattern drum, inverter motor. That's the nice quiet one that you use. I think that's a Pro Smart rather than the one they use on like the WTLs and stuff. So yeah, just to confirm, this was actually made in 2023. Got a lot of information now. 2200 watt draw. So I think it's a 1950 watt heater in these. So nice, powerful heating. We've also got our QR code. That will take you to the Beko site so you can view stuff like the instruction manual. Right, I've got our programs up here. On, off. At the top there. This little notch in the dial is our indicator to tell you what program it's on. Not prominent, but at least you can see it. It's not like, say, Candy and Hoover. Right, cotton. Presets at 40 degrees. It says 2 hours 14, but that is not true. 2 hours 14, believe it or not, is actually for a small load. If you've got a half load in, it will add on more time. If you've got a full load in, according to the instruction manual, it can be 4 hours long for a full load. Obviously, variable temperature. 40, 30, 20, turn it off and that becomes cold, and of course 90. We've also got variable spin as well. 1400 RPM is maximum for both this cycle and the entire machine. You can change that, you can lower it to 1200, 800, 600 RPM. That's rinse hold, so at the end of the final rinse stage, it will go into mode where it will just tumble periodically, you know, the clothes. With the final fabric softener water, that keeps them both fresh and reduces creasing. When you're ready to, you can advance it to go on to the final spin. If you select no spin, it cancels all the intermediate spins and the final spin and will leave your clothes soaking wet. Pre-wash will add on a short pre-wash before the main wash. So don't forget to put detergent in both sides of the detergent dispenser. Fast Plus only has one level on this, but essentially it kind of makes it almost a daily quick. You can put as much washing as you want in. It's made for washing lightly soiled laundry. What it'll do, it'll drop the rinse count from 3 to 2. It will also shorten the final spin as well. So just be aware that by using a cycle, the final spin results aren't anywhere near as good as it is on normal mode. Bleed time will go up as well if it is a full load, but it will only jump up by, say, about 15 minutes or so. You have an extra rinse function as well, and that will add on a additional rinsing step. So it does 3 rinses as normal. Add an extra rinse, it'll do 4. Pre-wash and extra rinse can be selected together. We've got time delay here, hidden away. Push it, and what we've actually got is delay end. So if we select 10, that's 10 hours till the end of the cycle. So if it's 2 hours 14, say, it will count down the time delay by about 7 hours and 45 minutes, then start the cycle. However, because that's not actually for full load, if it has a full load, it could take an additional 1 hour and 45 minutes on top of whatever you set that to. Not great. That's why I always think time delay is better than delay end. Plus it only goes up to 19 hours. That's not very good. Right. Push and hold pre-wash for 3 seconds. You can select the special drum clean program. That runs at 90 degrees and ends with a short spin. You've got child lock, which will lock out the display. And then you've got anti-crease. Now push that and hold that for 3 seconds. Once that's selected, you've got anti-crease mode there. So at the end of the final spin, you'll just go into anti-crease mode for several hours. You can end that at any point. It will allow you to just by hitting start pause, and that will end the entire cycle, reset the cycle, and allow you to take your clothes out with reduced creasing. Looks like this light here lights up to say that anti-crease mode is on. I believe once it gets to that mode, it will start flashing. Now, then we've got Eco 4060. We've got 40 degrees and 60 degrees. If you select 40 degrees, it'll do Eco 4060. If you select 60 degrees, it'll do Cotton Standard 60 degrees. Two different programs altogether. 2 hours 46, but again, that is not for a full load. Full load will take 3 hours 59 minutes according to the instruction manual. Again, max spin of 1400 RPM. No options. And that will achieve the best energy and water rating for this washing machine. So you'll save the most energy and the most water for normal to heavily soiled stuff. Then you've got synthetics. Max load is 4 kilogram. Again, it presets at 2 hours 4, but according to the instruction manual, it's 2.5 hours. So presumably with full load, it will add on around 25 minutes. So this time must be for a half load or less, which is about 1 load of bedding. Anyway, temperature can go down to cold. You got 60 degrees, 1200 spin. It's a shorter spin as well at 1200 RPM. You got rinse, hold, and no spin. Down on a pre-wash, apparently only 7 minutes though. Bit of an odd one. We've got fast plus. Again, that shortens the time, deletes the rinse, shortens the final spin, but will add on a little bit more time if it's got a bigger load in. Extra rinse adds on an additional extra rinse step. Anti-crease is also available on this program as well. And that's the other thing as well, because anti-crease has been activated, it will just remain activated. You don't have to keep resetting it every single cycle. Quick and super quick. So quick allows you to wash a full load, 10 kilogram of lightly soiled laundry in just 28 minutes at 30 degrees and 600 spin. You can change the spin up and go up to 1400 RPM if you wish. You can also change the temperature as well, but that also changes the time. So we got 20, cold, 90, 60, 40, and pretty much for each degree there is, it's equivalent in time. No pre-wash, but you can have extra rinse if you wish. So it will do 2 rinses as normal, and an extra rinse makes it 3. You got Fast Plus now. Yeah. So you can do 2 kilograms of light soiled laundry in just 14 minutes. Bearing in mind though, if you up the spin, it will add on 4 minutes with Fast Plus. Also, you can have any temperature with Fast Plus. It doesn't actually stop you. So it's quite flexible in that way. We've also got mixed fabrics. This is basically synthetics at 40 degrees and a limited 800 spin. It also can't go beyond 40 degrees. It's made for washing both cotton and synthetics of all colours together in one load. Again, you've got Fast Plus and pre-wash options. Then we've got hand wash cycle, made for washing 2 kg of wool, because this is actually the wool cycle. Yeah. I don't know why they don't label it wool, which is really odd. But there you go. I wish they'd bring it back and label it as wool, what it actually is. So it acts no different to wool at all. Max spin at 1200 RPM. It will do a very short burst 1200. Obviously temperature limited to 40 to prevent your damaging woolens. Likewise, you can put hand wash only items in on this cycle to obviously get a gentle wash, since that's what it does. It uses a higher water level and a gentle wash action. Just extra rinse is available, and there's no anti-crease on this. For good reason. That prevents obviously damaging your woolens at the end of the cycle. That's now switched off. So anti-crease is also not available on Delicate. Yeah. Delicate allows you to wash 4 kg of Delicate laundry, basically, effectively. It's stuff that can crease quite easily. So instead, it's a bit like synthetics, but it washes in a much higher water level and cancels all the intermediate spins, and spins at a slower spin as well. Just prevent creasing, basically. Max temperature of 40, again to prevent damaging. Extra rinse is available. And then we've got spin and drain, 15 minutes long. It presets at 1200, as it always does on a lot of these Bekos. But again, you can always go up to 1400. Looks like it adds on time for the faster spin, but takes off time for slower spins. That's a bit of a change on this generation. Also, if you want to do a drain only, let's say the machine's broken and you need the washing out, select spin only. Then select no spin, it drops to 2 minutes, press start, and that just drains out the water for you. Then we've got rinse and spin only. It's the final cottons rinse and spin cycle. So 1 rinse with fabric softener, high water level, as always, and it presets at 1200, but again, you can change whether you want a faster spin or a slower spin, and it will adjust the time accordingly. Interestingly, no extra rinse option, which I find a little bit bizarre. I don't know why just that isn't utilised on this program. Then we've got Duvet. Max load is nothing. Yeah, really. Max load is nothing, according to the manual anyway. And no, it will take on, I think, a king size Duvet rated 9 tog, happily in there. Naturally, it's about 2.5 kg. Don't know why I haven't listed it in the manual. It's a bit odd. Anyway, max temperature, well, it presets at 40, but it can go up to 60. That's good for anti-allergy purposes. Spin is limited to 800. You can have extra rinse as well. I'd say probably add on extra rinse anyway. What it does, it uses far more water during the wash. It still uses a moderate tumbling action. Same rinsing, it will fill up a lot more on the rinsing and do moderate tumbling. So it's still thorough. It's quite good as a cycle, always has been. Then we've got sportswear. So effectively, this is synthetics with Fast Plus selected and anti-crease also selected. But not that anti-crease, an easy iron anti-crease. So you can add on pre-wash, which adds on 5 minutes. Anyway, max temperature 40. Can't go any higher. 1200 spin max. We'll do a short spin at 1200. Max load at 4 kg, since it's made for synthetics. Right, then you got dark care. This allows you to wash your darks and jeans thoroughly, basically rinsing them thoroughly. So it'll do 4 rinses as standard. Effectively, it's synthetics, but limited to 40 degrees and with extra rinse. So that's what it is, really. We've got Stain Expert, bit of a bizarre one. It does say it presets to 30 in the manual, but as you can see here, it presets to 60. Max load, half load, 5 kilogram. Yeah, bit of a bizarre one, really, considering that the later models, and even earlier models, will happily wash all but 1 kilo on these cycles. Bit of an odd one, then you can only wash half. But anyway, the whole idea of Stain Expert is that it will heat to different stages of the wash, then will hold the temperature at those stages. You can add on the pre-wash, and you can add on Fast Plus. Yeah? And that's because there's 2 different stain groups available. So refer back to the manual for it. Fast Plus will do 1 set of stains. Without Fast Plus as normal, it'll do another set of stains. Tougher stains. That's why you're not taking off an hour and a half, it's just taking off 25 minutes. So all that does on Fast Plus is change the profile of the wash. But it'll do the same amount of rinsing, 3 rinses, as well as the same length spin as well. It is based on a Cotton's cycle. We've got shirts. Now, this is synthetics at 60 degrees with anti-crease, easy iron mode built into it. Not that anti-crease. Think of it as easy iron. It used to be called anti-crease on the old machines. So effectively, what it will do, it won't do any intermediate spins or whatsoever. And as I found out on the B300, it does like 6 rinses, but they're only on that one. I don't think it does it on this one. I think it does like 3 rinses that are quite long, with quite a high water level, but with no intermediate spinners. The final 800 spin as well, apart from being slower, it's still quite long since it does stages instead. So it will do a stage, slow down, anti-crease, another stage, slow down, anti-crease, 800, slow down, anti-crease. Stuff like that for its final spin. And the idea is that you are reducing the creasing, setting in on the shirts. And max load for shirts is 4 kilogram. Yeah, that's quite a lot. You can on pre-wash, you can have Fast Plus as well, and you can have extra rinse. So, quite flexible in that sense. Then we've got anti-allergy. Now this adds on an extra rinse as standard. It will heat up to 60 and hold it at 60 as well to remove all allergens. Max load is all but 1 kilogram. 9 kilogram. Variable spin up to 1400. Variable temperature up to 90. In fact, all temperatures apart from cold. That's interesting. Obviously, no Fast Plus and no pre-wash, interestingly. So, yeah, so the B300 kind of carries on with this programming to effect. So, yeah, I think we'll do some more washes with it before I end up kind of letting go of this machine. But there we go. Right, that's all your programming options. Let's demonstrate it. Right, so we've got our detergent drawer. Admittedly, it's the small one. It's got the rubbish updated flap here for the liquid and powder. So if it's down like we had before, that's for liquid. If it's up, that is, you can put powder in. This is for fabric softener. Right, max level is not very much. Max level for pre-wash is around 75ml. Max level for the main wash is 200ml powder. And max level for the fabric softener is 75ml. So it's tiny for a 10kg. But considering how condensed down detergent's getting, it's not too bad. But if you're washing heavy soil, for example, or you're in a hard water level area, you might not have enough room for all the powder. What to give this out of 10 then? Well, it gives you a 10 kilogram load, 1400 spin, and was incredibly cheap at the time purchase. Not kidding, 200. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as the modern version, which is £299. Inverter motor makes it reliable. Obviously, Beko should be reliable, mostly. In terms of performance, not entirely sure, because if we're going to go off the... So I put the energy spin at like 9 out of 10, and on reflection it's more like a 5 out of 10. It's actually really poor. But because I've not actually used any other cycle other than Eco 4060 and that cycle, I'm not entirely sure what to give it, because I've not used any other cycles. Now if anti-allergy decides to use water, or the quick decides to use water, then I suppose I will give it a good result. If we're going to base it more on the programming of the B300, it's not going to fare well. But if it bases it on the slightly older programming, it's fine. So that's what it boils down to. So I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 10 for now, but I'm not locking it in until I've started using some of the other programs. Right, give us a like if you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, and I'll see you guys in another video. So bye for now.